Yes, guys, I have been asked about my settings lately a lot in the DMs and in the comment sections as well. So these are my final FC25 settings. Let's talk about the camera. I keep experimenting with my camera. So most of the games you see a different camera from me. It's not because I feel one camera setting is better than the other camera setting. Okay, guys, you need to focus. I use telebroadcast. I'm not saying that co-op is worse. I'm just saying it's a matter of preference. I know so many pro players use co-op. If you see, you'll see more pro players using co-op as of late compared to telebroadcast. There are still many players who do play telebroadcast as well, but it comes down to you. See, if you're someone who struggles with tunnel vision, I would absolutely recommend you to use co-op camera. If I use co-op, I usually go default, but it gives me a headache. I can't explain it, but it gives me a headache. I personally prefer telebroadcast. Now, why is it better? Because it lets you actually dribble. So if you want to dribble and do skill moves like I do, or just normal left stick dribbling, right? You need to be using telebroadcast. I'm not saying it's not possible in co-op, but this is what I use. Far side focus is like 10, and that is pretty much it. But sometimes I also use 15, and oh, that is also very good. I also use 14 and 2 as well as 14 and 6. Now all of these three settings are really good. I don't use 20 and 0 on telebroadcast. This is what I use most of the times, however. So I've given you three settings that you can experiment with. Now I'm not saying it's going to suit you, but this is what I use. And if it doesn't suit you, you can always go back to co-op camera. Now game settings. This is where it gets really interesting. Most players use precision shooting. Yes, precision shooting is better, and I have told you guys to use precision shooting. But I have seen so many of my trainees actually being worse players because they simply cannot improve on precision shooting. Talking about trainees, if you want to get coached by me, check the description box below. Guys, see, you're not pro players. If you are unable, what is the keyword here? Unable to learn precision, just go back to assisted. But precision is definitely the superior one. Now, if you are going to use precision, make sure you can hit a Trivela in it, because Trivela shots are the most meta way of scoring in the game, or at least one of the most meta ways, right? Time finishing. It's another one that people argue a lot about, right? I use it on because you can't go wrong with time finishing. Precision per screen, you're giving yourself the best possible chance to score in this game, which is very overwhelmed by RNG anyways. So if you're gonna use timed finishing and precision, you're gonna be a beast. If not, you can still be a very good player, a rank 1, rank 2 player on assisted with timed finishing off. It just makes your life easier if you know how to use it. Now this is through pass assistance, that is just same for lob through pass. Ground pass assistance, I am using assisted. Sometimes I do go to semi. I feel with the amount of playstyles and high attribute players we have now, assisted is the way to go. Also on crosses, man, I would recommend going assisted. Lob pass as well, assisted. If you have long ball pass, which almost everyone does nowadays, you should go with lob pass assistance set to assisted. Pass receiver lock. Now, I use it late. However, I tell you guys, if you are having a lot of delay, which many of you do have, including me, I play on 50 ms, but I am used to of using late if I'm being honest. Animation start is really good. So what it does is, if you're gonna load up a pass and you decide to pass left, and at the very end you decide to pass right, it will take your first input. So what was your first input in this instance? That was left. So regardless of where you point your left stick afterwards, it will take your first input. Precision pass sensitivity, I use normal. Now this is another one that is argued a lot. Defending. Should you be using advanced defending or tactical defending? Guys, listen to me. Tactical defending is more popular this year. I absolutely agree. I know so many pro players who use tactical defending. I think 60% are on, roughly speaking, are on tactical defending. I prefer advanced defending. Why? Because one, I'm used to it. And second, I like doing the shoulder barge. I have tried using tactical defending, going back to tactical defending, but it's something that has left me. It's a thing of my past. I cannot absolutely go back on it. I have tried many times, but it comes down to preference. Both have their pros and cons. Not one is superior than the other. And let's say if you are on tactical, changing to advanced won't make you a better player, and vice versa. However, it can actually assist you in becoming a better player. So you need to know what is your play style. I use defending advanced because I just want to barge players off the ball. That is how I like to play. But if you want, you can can go to tactical defending. Tactical defending definitely has a place in the game, and many will argue that it is better. I personally prefer advanced defending. Pass block assistance, I have seen some weird guys using it off, and I get it. Sometimes players make bad lunge animation, but you should have it on. Auto switching on air balls and loose balls. Move assistance, most players would use none, and that is the better setting. I just use low because I'm used to it. I've been using it since the past 10 years, so I would recommend that you guys use none. I personally use low. Right stick switching, always player relative. No matter what someone says, find me one good player, one top player. When I say good player, I mean top players who use ball relative. Player relative is the most superior setting when it comes to right stick switching. Now sensitivity, again, you can use 4, you can use 5, you can use 3, you can maybe use 2 as well, but I don't recommend going anything and under 2 or above 5 because that is just not good. Most players would use either 3 or 4. 4 is the more popular one. I use 3. That feels closest to games like FIFA 23, FIFA 22. Like before we had this BS. I feel this is absolutely BS, by the way. Next, player switching. I use closest to ball. Why? Because it's better for second man pressing and it is more consistent. You can use classic, but I feel it's too random compared to something like closest to ball. Some of you have been asking me to make a video on reaction time calibration. Guys, I don't use it. You shouldn't use it either. It just adds more delay into the game. EA just put it for the sake of putting it. You absolutely don't have to use this option. There are no ifs, no buts about it. Okay, player lock has to be on. If you don't know how to player lock, where are you living? Are you living under a rock? You need to get up and learn the player lock. I use analog sprint off. However, if you want to do analog sprint jockey, that way you can actually control the speed of your jockey movement when you hold R2 plus L2 or both triggers. Guys, you can use analog sprint in that instance, but the way the speed boost is, I just like using it off and having plays with quick step so I can double tap the sprint button when I am chasing. These are my end game controller settings, and I'll see you in the next one.